Hello. So this is part number 2 of more or less prediction for spring, summer, and let's say a bit for the next year as well. What we have spoken about in part 1, this is the continuation of the important factors that are going to affect us very soon. And let's get back to our horoscope for the summer. So this is what is going to be happening very soon, and let's recap on the most important things. So these are the first degrees of Aries when Saturn and Neptune are going to meet. So simply this is a mixture of restrictions and dreams. And when you mix them together, like you mix a water with a bottle is a restriction, water unrestricted, you have water in a bottle. But then again, it works the other way around, that for example, if the bottle is made out of paper, it will melt the boundaries. So it works both ways. So that's one of the most important aspects that we are having this year, next year, because it's in the so-called the world point, the ascendant of the ascendants in the horoscopes, first degree of Aries, and this is exactly the point. And then we have a very strong aspects to this very point from Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. That's gonna be happening in August this year. And then at the apex of everything, Mars is going to aspect this structure, creating kite this summer. And now, as I said before, I am not here to cause panic and fear. So what I'm going to tell you is how to use this energy and how is it going to affect you if you have any points in your horoscope in these very points of action that are going to happen very soon. So first of all, let's have a look at let's move from the slowest moving planets. So let's have a look at Pluto in Aquarius. That is going to take part in this game. It really depends if you have something in this point and whether this point has harmonious aspects to other interesting points in your horoscope, that can lead to extreme benefits. If it's the other way around, if you have non-harmonious aspects to this very point in your horoscope, you will receive a vast amount of non-harmonious energy. And the thing is, are you going to work with non-harmonious energy and succeed, making, for example, great career, lots of money, or some other sort of success? It really depends on you. But this point receives energy from both this conjunction of Neptune and Saturn and Uranus, and just for a couple of days from Mars. So in general, if you, let's say, have a planet that does not really have many strong aspects to other planets, that would be extremely strong period of transformation, depending on the planets in reality, whether Pluto understands its energy. So expect transformation, whether harmonious or hardcore, if you have non-harmonious aspects in this very area of your horoscope. So that would be first degrees of Aquarius. Let's go to Neptune and Saturn. So that would be the hottest point of your horoscope. So if you have any interesting planets, including Sun and Moon, in first degrees of Aries, you are going to receive all of the energy from this set. And with this type with this amount of energy. It is like you're in a garage, you're trying to find a screwdriver, but you have two options. You're looking for this screwdriver totally blind, quite difficult to find it in a dark garage, or you ask your neighbor to give you a hand, and you know that he has a massive spotlight used on the airfield. So this whole construct gives so much energy that it is like you're looking for a screwdriver in a dark garage, and your neighbor came with this spotlight that is 5 million watts of light. He turns it on, and it does not really make difference because you cannot open your eyes. It is so bright to find the screwdriver. So you're in the exactly same situation. But you're paying the bill for the electricity every second the spotlight is on. So this is the point that is going to have so much energy in that period of time. And it is quite difficult to predict what is going to happen, not knowing the date of birth of certain country or a person. But in my less than humble opinion, if you have a point in your horoscope that is really nice and that has really nice, easy and harmonious aspects, you can expect, as I said before, dissolution of borders of your consciousness, or on the other side, a borders being created for your dreams. And that is going to be fueled by the deepest understanding of the world, by Pluto. These are harmonious aspects. By Uranus, with brilliance and chaos in the same time. This point is going to get affected in a very positive manner. But as I said, too much energy that you cannot handle turns out, instead of being harmonious, into non-harmonious energy. So if you cannot handle it, it is going to be a problem. And for a brief period of time, we have our star of initiation. So Mars, the god of war and the initiator of processes. So you can expect, even with quite a good placement in these first degrees of Aries, loads of action in your life, yes? Loads of energy. And then again, it really depends on the horoscope and your ability to use that energy. But this point is extremely difficult to navigate, let's say. Let's get to another point. So this is the Uranus being in this kite, on the right side of the kite. So if it was aspecting any points that are placed in the very first degrees of Gemini in your horoscope, and that again depends on the planet and on the aspects with the other planets in your horoscope. Loads of chaotic but yet brilliant energy fueled by the rest of the setup. So expect unexpected changes. If you have good placements here, they should be positive. If not, they are going to be life-changing and unexpected. But these 2 points, so point of Uranus and point of Pluto, in general, should be much easier to navigate than this very point of Neptune and Saturn. And then for a brief moment, this very point is going to be affected as well. You have to be aware that if we have a grand trine, it is a sort of a yod as well, but a yod that has 3 apex points, not one, like a regular yod. So there is accumulation of energy as well in the first degrees of Libra. And then again, you're collecting very positive energy from Pluto and Uranus, giving you immense strength from Pluto to overcome everything, and chaotic yet brilliant ideas how to navigate. But you get this extreme energy from Mars that is initiating new action and explosive, and then yet you have to balance it with this already difficult to navigate aspect of Saturn in conjunction with Neptune. So more or less this is what is going to happen to these points in the horoscope, but this is still quite positive setup. A kite is a positive figure in a horoscope, and as I said before, this is not what I find the most challenging in the times to come. So let's move forward. I just wanted to show you that this very setup is not going to be as exact as it will have been by the beginning of August. It is going to repeat itself in February as well, but as you can see, the planets will not align exactly as they are going to align at the beginning of August this year. And you can see that even though Saturn and Neptune are going to meet in the very first degree of Aries, Pluto and Saturn and Uranus are not going to send as much energy to this very point as they are going to do in the summer. So I hope that because this conjunction will not actually happen in summer, where there would be the biggest potential for things to start rolling, especially with Mars in this point of the horoscope in the first degrees of Libra. I hope that all is that we are going to get stressed and scared, but there might be some sort of divine intervention that it will not be as bad as it could have been. But we'll see what happens. So, as you can see here, the cooperation between Pluto and Uranus is not going to be as hardcore as it's going to be in the summer. They are still going to send lots of that's positive energy sextiles onto this conjunction of Neptune and Saturn in Aries, and they are going to send this energy as well to this area on between Virgo and Libra here. So the question is, how are you going to get affected? How is your country going to get affected? It really depends. I did horoscope of Panama for years to come, and I think Israel. I think it's a good time to watch these videos, especially Israel. So this is summer 2026, when yet we are going to have the same, more or less, the similar setup, but without Saturn in the sky. But as you can see here, we are going to have a conjunction of Jupiter and Sun. That is usually very ego-expanding conjunction in general, especially in Leo. And this conjunction this time is going to send loads of harmonious energy to this very point of illusion regarding ideas, initiation and war. So that's going to be interesting summer as well, 2026. We are not going to have anything on this apex point at that stage. So we'll see. But anyways, we were supposed to speak how is it going to affect your horoscope if so. So as I said already in the show, in the live video and the previous video, technically speaking, in a way, each and every planet or line you have in your horoscope in the early degrees, in the first 5, let's say 5 to 10 degrees of each sign, is going to get somehow affected by this setup in the sky. How? It really depends on the horoscope of yourself and your country. But because I haven't seen so much interaction and so much strong interaction from, we did have a very strong period in 2019 and 20 when we had Pluto, Jupiter and Saturn meeting in the same point in the sky. I think it was around the 23rd degree of Capricorn. You know what was going on in the 2020-21. So that was the period when the deep state had the most possible amount of control over the population. Hopefully it won't happen again, or maybe it was the beginning. But first of all, check what do you have, if you have anything in the first 5 degrees of any of the zodiac signs. And then if you know a bit about astrology, you can navigate and you can find answers. How are you going to be affected by the times that are to come quite soon? But this construct more or less is going to be with us for about 2 years, yeah. But that's not everything. This is not everything that I want to tell you, and this is the most important part, I would say, because as I said before, each and every beginning of every sign is going to experience immense flow of energy, harmonious or disharmonious, depending on your personal setup and the region and the star sign that it is affecting. But these are the most, in my less than humble opinion, these are the most important energies. So first degrees of Scorpio and first degrees of Virgo are going to get affected by these very, very powerful yods. So yods are where two quincunxes create a narrow triangle with a focal point here in the first degrees of Scorpio and first degrees of Virgo. And these are the places that are going to get really, really heavily affected, especially, and this is from a very simple reason. Look, we have, there's like 70 pictures that I made. You have to wait a second. Come on. So we have these important planets, because technically speaking, the bigger the significance of a certain planet in the horoscope, the slower it moves. So we have the slowest moving planet, Pluto, second slowest, Neptune, third slowest, Uranus, and Saturn in the very middle, being in a trine and sextiles to each other. So this setup on its own creates a massive amount of energy. But as I said just a couple of minutes ago, when you have two planets in a sextile, and then when there is something for them to shine at, they create the finger of God or the yod. This is these are the figures that I've shown you, made of two quincunxes, and then they pinpoint extremely important point of your horoscope. The idea behind the yod is to find a solution in the polarization of the yod, so on the other side of the yod. But then again, it really depends on how I have to know the other horoscope to tell you more about it. So that's why there's a short break for my consultation. If you want to consult with me, just check out the WhatsApp number below, and we can set up a meeting and I can give you much more information if I have your exact date of birth. But let's get back to the yods that we are going to have this year and next year in the sky. So because they are made of slow-moving planets, as I said before, Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and Uranus, these 2 points are going to be the points that are going to be extremely affected, and they are going to get affected by the extreme forces in the sky. And this is what we are going to cover in the next episode, because I cannot shoot films longer than half an hour, I think. And these 2 points, because they are going to be so important, in my less than humble opinion, they are going to create a third yod affecting this very point, the world point in Aries. So we are going to have 3 very strong yods in the sky. And the question is, how are we going to use these energies, and how should we look for solutions? This is what we are going to focus in the next video. And as I said before, I made maybe 70 or 80 slides regarding the construct that is going to show up in the sky in the next couple of months and years. And there is really much to speak about. And there is going to be a number of episodes regarding this very combination of energies that we are going to encounter in the next couple of months and years. So, and we are going to try to look for solutions, not as I just said before. If the points that are going to affect your horoscope are Pluto and Saturn, technically speaking, you should be receiving harmonious energy pushing you forward. But if these are the yods that are going to affect your horoscope, that might be a bit different. But as I said, in the next episode, I'm playing my own video, and in the next episode, hopefully, I will try to help you navigate these points in your horoscope. And again, if you want a consultation, we'll just ring the number below. Anyway, most importantly, if you've watched this video, if you have any concerns and questions, write them in the comments below. I feel much better if I have some interaction with my viewers, so I could navigate myself better and get you content that you really like. So that's it for tonight, and hopefully see you soon, and hopefully I'll get the part 3 and 4 and 5 of the things to come in astrology quite soon. Bye bye.